the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, a friend of mine, and probably a little bit of the inspiration of this podcast because he had me on the Influencer show a long time ago. And so I'm proud to have today again and welcome President of the Latin Chamber of Commerce, a longtime member of the Workforce Connections Board, but more importantly, my friend, Peter Guzman. Peter, welcome.
Hi, man. Thank you for having me, and thank you for inviting me back. I did something right. I got a second invite, and congratulations on your space. It looks beautiful.
Thank you, Peter. And when you were here last time, we have slightly modified the format. So today you're going to get to share with our audience, our listeners, our viewers, a little bit about the beginnings, los inicios, that Peter Guzman. Tell us, Peter, about where you were born, where you grew up, where you went to school. Perhaps take us to your first job.
Really interesting. Okay. So I was born in Miami, in Coral Gables specifically, at a hospital called Mercy Hospital. I say that because my wife's name is Mercy. And it seems like, wow, I guess she locked me in at birth.
Shout out to you, Mercy.
I was born at Mercy Hospital. My dad escaped communism of Cuba, landed in Florida. And then I was born in Miami and he decided at about 2 years old that to move out west.
Wow.
So we actually moved to Lake Tahoe, but it was summertime, and he thought he found paradise, and he did. Summertime in Lake Tahoe was pretty paradise. But as soon as the winter came, he said, we're going to Las Vegas, because he had never even seen snow.
Wow.
So ended up in Las Vegas. So I did most of my growing up here in Las Vegas.
What elementary school, middle school, high school?
Yeah, I went to Harley Harmon, went to Burkholder, and then went to Chaparral. Grew up mostly on 28th Street, or at least a lot of my growing up happened on 28th Street in Bonanza. My dad was an amazing man, my hero, my best man at my wedding. And so my journey, if that's what we're talking about, is filled with what I like to call key moments. And one of those key moments was a high school football game, 9th grade. I was at Chaparral, and we were playing a school called Bishop Gorman. And I told my buddy, I said, we got to go to that game. We got to find out about these Gorman girls. So I did. I went, and that was one of the key moments of my life. I saw a girl sitting in the stands with her mom.
Wow.
And I kept staring at her and trying to figure out how I'm going to get those digits.
Wow, and that's Mercy.
And that was Mercy.
Wow, that's awesome.
And today she's my wife and mother of my two great children.
Yeah.
And it was a key moment, right? And so, but that path led me to, if I wanted to say my first real job, it was valet parking at the Sahara Hotel.
Wow.
It was awesome. Well, most of it was awesome. I quickly learned that I didn't want to do that forever, although no knock on valet parking. It pays well and did well. But, you know, after I got married broke and lived first 6 months in my dad's garage with my new wife, he said, save every dime you can at that valet parking and get a house because there's no way to start a marriage. So I ended up going out to the circle about 9 months in. We had saved about $11,000. And I'm sitting in the circle and talking to a guy who I knew. And I said, what's up? What's going on? He says, well, I'm, going to lose my wife. She's leaving me, going to lose my house. And I said, wow.
How much?
So I went to the library. I literally went to the library, checked out a book on how to do a real estate deal, and I negotiated for that deal. And in the process, because my wife was in college, starting her career at the same time, I was taking some classes, but I didn't feel like it was for me, and I didn't really know what I wanted until that moment.
That's so cool, Peter. What was the median cost of a home back then?
I bought that house for $76,500 and lived there for a while, realized that living one door down from your family probably wasn't the best thing either. It was kind of cool for me, but people walking in and not knocking kind of got old. So, but I ended up selling that house for $150,000. And more importantly, I got into real estate. I checked into a 2-year real estate program, which led me to another key moment, which was meeting my mentor in real estate, which is Lynn Wardley. And the rest is history.
Wow.
I sold over $700 million worth of real estate, but more importantly, found my passion at that moment, which was real estate.
That's really cool, Peter. What was the time bought for 76, sold for 150. You doubled that. What was the time that you owned that you kept that?
I think we owned it for about 5 years, maybe 6 years.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah, doubled that and then moved completely across town and started buying and selling real estate.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Peter, let's close the loop, because very successful at real estate, but then you end up being the CEO and president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. Who, some people may say, well, I could have seen that, but I'm sure you didn't grow up saying that's what you want to do.
I didn't see it.
So tell us about that. I didn't see it.
So that's interesting too, and great question. I mean, because it's also one of those key moments. When I was dating my girlfriend at the time, which was Mercy, the summer when she was 16, I went to pick her up to take her to lunch. And you know where I picked her up at? At the Latin Chamber of Commerce,
Why?
where she worked the summer there under Otto Merida. Wow. She worked the summer at her first job, which was the Latin Chamber of Commerce. So it was my first time I met a man named Otto Merida.
That's crazy.
Which at the moment didn't mean a whole lot, but later on it did.
Yeah.
It was a full circle moment because you asked a full circle moment. That started a relationship. We kept in touch. But when I started really rising in real estate, I got a call from that man. And he said, Peter, you're Hispanic. We see you in the newspaper. You're doing well, but you're not involved with us. And kids need to see success. We need you involved in the chamber. That brought me in.
Wow.
So I joined as a volunteer, became a member, and then joined the board and started a 25, 27-year run, not knowing that the entire time that man was mentoring me to one day become president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce.
That's amazing.
And by the way, we have a documentary that just got completed. It's coming out in August. It's going to be a big deal. It's a real documentary done by a real, film crew. And it talks about that. It talks about that. And it kind of hit me when I recently watched the first edit of it, how important that man became in my life.
I love Peter when in the galas, and not just the gala, every opportunity I think the chamber has, they honor his legacy. And I think that's so important because he broke so many barriers in our community, set the foundation for you and I and so many others to become community leaders. So I appreciate and thank you that you take the time to do that, to honor Otto.
Well, of course. And I do it because it comes from my heart, but it's also the way I was raised. And it's something that I want to pass on to young people. I want them to understand that the ground they walk on was laid by somebody else.
Yep.
And we must always honor our past, honor our elders who laid down the groundwork. He had to kick doors down to rooms that I now get to walk into and get a seat at the table. Mm-hmm. That's not Peter Guzman who did that. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to open doors and get other people to tables now. But I'm there because of Otto Merida.
Yeah, and like you said, I know that's a symbolic. You don't just walk into the rooms. You get invited into those rooms because your presence is valued, and you get invited to those tables, those conversations. The governor calls you, and so yes, I think without Otto having broken down those doors, we wouldn't have that today.
As you've heard me say in the past, I believe that every Hispanic in this state, whether directly or indirectly, has benefited from that man's work.
Yeah.
I mean, he broke down barriers.
Yeah. Peter, tell us about the organization itself. Obviously, I know a lot about it now, decades of involvement. I first got involved when I was still at MGM. Those 2 decades that I spent on the Strip, got to, meet you during that time, and Otto. But tell our viewers about the Latin Chamber, the value that it brings to the community, not just the Hispanic community, small businesses, business at large, but also people.
Yeah.
Break down that for us, the value.
And I appreciate that opportunity to talk about that because we are now celebrating our 50th year this year, and I'm celebrating 10 years as chamber president, which I said I was going to do 3 years because I had a good life, and here I am at year 10
years.
Loving life. But there's no question that I'm able to say this now. Otto did his best, but at the end there was a little bit of, running out of gas, like he told me. Sure. And the chamber might have lost a little bit of its way, became a little bit too much of a social club. And he knew that. And he said, Pete, you're the right guy because you're a business person. You're going to come in and you're going to refocus everything. And that's what I've tried to do. And we refocused it to be a a powerhouse for the small business community, and politically a voice in every decision that's being made. And we're a statewide chamber now. More to come on that. But, we really take our position serious that we're able. And the reason why I say we're statewide is because we go to Carson City, right? We're there when decisions are being made. That's the real power of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. And our membership has gone through the roof. Our database is humongous. And so when we send out emails, we know how many people are reading it and touching it. And so we're impacting lives.
Yeah. And Peter, besides small business, many don't know that there's a school at the chamber, but besides small businesses, you also help the community at large and people. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, that's the thing, right? But I needed to say what I said because in order to be able to do all the things that we do, we needed to refocus and make sure that we're doing our core mission as well as we can. And that core mission is a small business community. I don't lose that focus. That's what I wake up for every day.
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce, fighting for the small business community, fighting against bad policy and fighting for great policy. So that allows us now that we're this truly impactful chamber. It also now affords us the ability to do all the other things that I'm very passionate about. Mm-hmm. Having a school in our building. We're the only chamber that has that. Yep. Not only in Nevada, but I found out we're the only chamber in the West, in the entire country that has a school. And that's important to us. And we're involved in a lot of other things. I just finished up my term as chairman of the Public Education Foundation. We changed a lot of lives there. And I'm on the Mob Museum board. I'm on the workforce board. Yep. Like, we're trying to make impact in everywhere we can without losing focus of our core.
Peter, that's really good. And again, I see the impact across all those areas that you talked about. Today, as we talk about also when we travel together, the political climate has never been, what it is today. The advent of technology changing everything, not just robotics and automation, but AI. But within all that, I know you're always an optimistic guy and a guy of looking for opportunities. What unique opportunities and or challenges do you think our small businesses are facing here in Las Vegas, and how is the chamber helping them?
Yeah, another great topic. The flip side of being a powerful organization, a respected one, is all the requests and demands on it. And I constantly get asked, how do you do it? Because they see that I work with across party lines. How do you do it? Like, how do you manage? And, it's not really that difficult. If you stay true to your mission, stay true to your integrity, your passion, you don't care if a guy's got an R or a D in front of his name. You care about what he cares about, the policy. Mm-hmm. So we take policy over personality. The governor quoted me on that in the New York Times, and my phone blew up. Mm-hmm. That's my quote, and I mean it. It's policy over personality. I may not like how you say things, but I'm not focused so much on that. I'm focused on what is your policy. And if you're anti-business, anti-small business, I'm going to do everything I can to crush that policy. It's that simple.
That's good, Peter. And so since policy is the most...
And by the way, nobody has nobody has the exclusive on good and bad policy. They come out of both parties.
Absolutely.
And so I understand the climate today is what it is, but I can't focus on the climate. I got to focus on the policy.
No, it's really good. And the next question is about, to shape that policy, what do you think is the disconnect that, of course, the chamber's trying to solve when it goes to Carson City to make sure it's good? But what is the disconnect between the people creating the policies that could have bad effects on the community, the business community? Why do you think it's disconnected? You have to go and, bridge that.
Well, a lot of it is because of their own life experience. They haven't ran a business. If they haven't gone through what I went through in 2007 and 8, where I had to come to my wife and say, we may be late on our mortgage this month because I got to make payroll, because at that time I had 12 employees. If you don't experience that, it's hard for you to understand what it's like for, I'll give you an example, a husband and wife team that came to us 8 years ago. They took out their 401k money to open up their business. Worked out pretty well. They have 8 businesses now. Wow. Could have went the other way. But if you've never been through that, how do you really, really relate to that? So I need to explain that to young legislators who don't have that life experience, because that's in a lot of ways we're getting younger and younger legislators who don't even know what 2008 was, which 2008 rocked my world.
Yes, it rocked. Yes. And you're right, Peter. Last time I was in Carson City, I looked around and I thought, those are aides? They weren't aides. They were the legislators. They're getting younger and younger.
And so if you haven't had your world rocked like that, and where you got to pick yourself up and figure out how you're going to get through today, you can think that some policy that sounds compassionate and all goody-goody, you don't look at the unintended consequences of what that policy could do. And so that's what we do. So, Peter,
I think you would agree on this, that great work takes collaboration, right? It's not done in isolation. And you're a great collaborator. I've seen it. I think our region's success in the future depends on that. What opportunities do you see for the Latin Chamber and other chambers in our community, local governments, workforce partners? How can we work together to, ensure that we actually align workforce development to economic development and make our community better?
Yeah, I absolutely do believe in collaboration. I love collaborating. Where my personality can be a little different is that I don't slow down, though. So if you want to collaborate, keep up. Let's do it. But if we're going to sit around tables and talk about it and then you're not going to move forward, don't be upset when I do move forward, because I'm going to move forward. I only have one speed, man. And I wish some days I had a different speed. But this is what drives me and gives me the passion that I have. And so, I want to collaborate, but let's go, right? Let's not sit around a room. And what I don't do well is sit around a room and talk about it. I want to get things done because I firmly believe that we're here a very short period of time and I got work to do. So the opportunities are all around us. You can't get caught up in all the noise, right? Otherwise, that'll hold you down and hold you back. The opportunities to work together, to collaborate, to make things happen is all around us.
Yeah, no, that's why you said on the Public Education Foundation Board, because education, right, needs to align to employers' needs.
100%. Business and education go hand in hand. And I'm so proud to be part of Workforce because you guys recognized that early on, that certifications and alternative type of education programs, that's what we got to be doing.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I love this school in the chamber is because, it's easier to avoid disconnection later in life if you have somebody like Nevada State High School early on in the community. But today we have a problem that about. You've heard us talk about the Opportunity Youth Coalition here is trying to solve a dilemma of roughly 40,000 young people in our area that are between the ages of 16 and 24, and they're not engaged in meaningful skill acquisition, school, or employed. And so we are trying to, again, because we didn't have enough Nevada State high schools, they got disconnected and solved that. So I think my question for you would be, as a member of the Workforce Connections Board, how do you think that, how are we doing in that, and what could we do better to connect with those kids and get them employed?
Yeah, I think, listen, this is where my street education comes in. I keep it real and raw. I tell small businesses, if you don't pay attention to this now, you're going to pay for it later on because they're on their way to prison, right? And that's much more expensive education, isn't it? Who wants that? And so we got to be involved with our youth and training programs and alternative type of education. And if a kid tells me, I want to be a welder, you know what? I'm going to make him the highest earning welder I can. Yep. And one of the programs at CSN, the mining program, that came out of the Latin Chamber. From me being on the board of Nevada Gold Mines, we developed a mining program where kids are graduating there, going to an $80,000 a year job and can continue their education. Tell me a negative on that.
Yeah.
So the things that you're doing at Workforce, making sure that some of these organizations are well funded to be able to change lives is important. And again, I'm a guy, it's funny, when I became chairman of the Public Education Foundation, there was some social media attacks saying, well, how could a guy who isn't pro public ed be the chairman of Public Education Foundation, right? Which is nonsense. The quote that they misquoted me, of course. I clearly said I am for public schools, private schools, charter schools, home schools, and any kind of education that a parent thinks is best for their kids.
Options.
That doesn't make me anything. It makes me pro everything.
Right.
And so that's what you do at Workforce. You look at alternative programs and you help fund that. That's what we do. I think it's brilliant.
So, Peter, the years that I've known you, we've talked about how collaboration is important. I remember the big events, the first one that United States Hispanic Chambers of Commerce had with you. But what kind of big things like that, other partnerships, other initiatives are in the near future for the Latin Chamber? Yeah,
so two important initiatives that are going on right now as we speak. One of the best hires I did was bring Maite Salazar on as Vice President of Special Projects. She's crushing it. Her programs are completely packed. Graduates are, happy when they graduate. And we're getting ready to start a new one, which is AI, which is, you're going to hear more about it. It's a big deal. And it's sold out already. And we're going to start a new program because more people want to sign up. So that one's everything Maite is touching is turning into gold. And I'm so grateful for that. And then we started the LCC-UN, which, man, even sometimes I come up with these crazy ideas when I'm sitting around thinking. And I came up with LCC-UN when there was a lot of UN with Trump and UN going on.
So UN for United Nations? Is that what UN means?
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's what we played off of. Wow. LCC-UN, you played it as United Nations, and I'm happy with that. It actually stands for United Nevada, but it's a play off United Nations. And what I found was we were getting a lot of foreign dignitaries coming to town and coming by the Latin Chamber. And I said, there's something here. So we started the LCC-UN under the leadership of Iris Jones, who is crushing it. So to date, we have Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and most recently, real recent, Argentina. Countries that joined our chamber that have sent foreign dignitaries that we're engaging in trade conversations with. Wow. The Argentina one is very interesting. More to come on that. Can't break the news here yet until I sign the dotted line. But a big deal with Argentina. And why not? Wow. Why not take the Latin Chamber global? That's what we wanted to do. And Iris is crushing it.
That's awesome. Yeah, as you know, I'm half Peruvian because of my mother who loves you to death. And then my father, who's a long time passed away, was Argentinian. And so
half Peruvian who eats whole chickens when you take me to the restaurant.
We do. We go through a whole
crush that place.
We do. And you like that. You like that green sauce.
All the way to the bone, baby.
Yeah. And a lot of us were watching Argentina play in the World Cup. They had a great debut with Messi. Yeah. So, Peter, I always enjoy, again, not just the professional relationship, but I admire, again, as you said earlier, how you're a family-focused man. You honor your wife, Mercy. Your kids turned out to be great kids, both professional. Your boy went off to build a career in California, came back. Your daughter crushing it too. And so when you're not working, which you do a lot, I can't imagine how many hours you dedicate to work and then serving voluntarily on the Workforce and Actions Board, the Public Education Foundation, and others. When you do find the time to dedicate to your family, try to relax, recharge, refill, so that Monday morning you can come back and do it all over again, how do you do that? What hobbies, activities help you recharge the batteries of Peter Guzman?
Yeah, boy, the hobby thing. I did recently pick up golf, and I've got a little bit of obsession going on with golf. But the reality is that I'm a real simple dude, man. I love work because I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life. But the other thing and the most important thing is my family. I know it's going to sound corny to some, but those who really, really know me know that I'm true to that. My free time, I can't wait to get on the road and go home to my wife and to my home. I love being with my wife. I love being with my kids. It's great that they're adults now and they want to do everything with us. They're still upset that I went to Alaska last week with my wife without them for the first time. They can't believe it. Wow. Like they thought I was punking them. Wow. And but we needed that, and me and my wife. Need is like we didn't need it, but we enjoyed it. Yeah, we enjoyed each other because we're friends, right? We're friends and we're married. So really, my hobby is my free time with my family. It's the greatest joy.
And I know you're healthy, which I love that you're healthy, you're eating healthier. Did you have some salmon when you were in Ketchikan? It's the salmon capital of the world.
I got salmon coming out of my brains. But what I will say is the halibut. Let me tell you, when you have fish and chips, unhealthy fried fish and chips, and it's halibut instead of cod, you can't go back to cod. I got to find out who does halibut here because halibut is so great.
And they have something
the crab legs.
Halibut cheeks.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the crab legs. Wow, did the price go up? But the king crab leg coming right out of the water, they're steaming it. Wow. So that's my life. That's my hobby. Is family time.
Oh, that's good. And I see that. And for years I've seen that. So, Peter, if our listener, somebody's listening to you and they're a young person, that 18-year-old that says, I can relate to Peter. I grew up in El Barrio, 28th Street, or on one much like it. I went to a school like him. And the traditional 4-year thing is not my thing. I want to be an entrepreneur like him, even though, as you just heard, you told a story, sometimes being an entrepreneur is rolling some big dice, taking, But that's the course. What advice would you give a Latino entrepreneur or a small business owner who wants to start or grow a business here in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I go back to what I'm hearing my father tell me, which is such a basic thing. I mean, it all starts off with who you have around you. If you're going to be solo, fine. But if you're going to have people around you, you got to have people around you that push you, that embrace you when you talk about your goals. I got really, really lucky in life. I realized as I'm getting older how lucky I was to meet my wife. But at that time when we were rocked, she said, no problem.
Wow.
No problem. When I told her I'm going to quit my valet parking job, which was on a Friday night, because I tried to build myself and I told her, honey, I'm putting my 2 week notice in. And the valet was paying well. And she's like, all the way home, I kept thinking, how's this going to go? You know how it went? She said, what are you waiting for? I get emotional about it because when you have that kind of
support,
people around you, life gets a little easier, even during the hard times, right? But it is hard. I can't lie to people and say, opening up your own business is easy. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. But unless you're a person who's okay with clocking in and out the rest of your life and going to a place you're unhappy, jobs are okay. I don't ever want anybody to think that having a job is not good. But having a job you're miserable in, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do a life of that. And I won't do a life of that. And so surround yourself with good people that push you and drive you. But at some point, you just got to take the risk. Hate to say it. You got to roll the dice.
That's true.
Load yourself up with all the information, all the resources that you can get at Chambers and workforce and other places.
Libraries like you did?
Libraries like I did. The library changed my life. But at the end of the day, don't do that forever. At some point, roll that dice, man, and just jump in and do it.
That's good, Peter. I've seen my daughter, who you know too, you've seen since she was little. She just started her physical therapy clinic 3 years ago, became a member of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. She teases me, Dad, I'm a member too. I'm like, yeah, I know, honey. But you're right. She had to learn how to make payroll. She had to learn how to meet all her insurance regulations, things. And it's scary as a father. As you know, we want our little eagles to fly on their own, but I used to wake up in the middle of the night, Peter, with nightmares that she wasn't meeting payroll. Somebody was getting hurt. And thank God now I sleep soundly because she's doing great. She's killing it. She's crushing it. And so, but you're so right. The entrepreneur life, you have to be built for it.
Yeah, you got to be built for it. Again, you got to load yourself up with put the odds in your favor by loading yourself up with resources, information. But at some point, if that's what you want to do, come see me, man. You sit in the room with me for 30 minutes, you're probably going to take a risk right after you leave my office.
That's right.
Because I'm going to pump you up and I'm going to tell you the pros and cons. But yeah, we're supposed to encourage our young people, man.
Yep. No, and I love that about the chamber too, because I remember you telling me, some of the people over there in the market in North Las Vegas, Broad Acres,
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, entrepreneurs, man. They're selling everything and making a killing of it. And by the way, I meant to ask you this: is that place humming again? Because I know for a while it kind of
somebody started a bad rumor, and it was just that, a rumor. And crushed the place for a little bit, but it's back up.
Oh, good.
They're back up doing their thing.
Yeah, it's great to go there on a weekend.
Oh, it's the best.
The music and the
good
food,
and drinks, and
it's really
you
good.
can buy yourself anything you want there.
I imagine when I've been there with you. I remember when the chamber had their thing there. You probably can't walk there without being stopped every business,
I don't know about
right?
all that. But
you were popular.
yes, we've helped some people there, and I'm grateful that they remember.
Yeah. Yep. Peter, before we get to the final question, I wanted to see if I can get you to share whenever and today you've done it too, you talk about your dad with such pride because he was such a big part of your life. I love the stories about when he worked on the strip, the days of the maitre d's and the captains. Tell us a little one about your dad and what he did, and Well,
I'm glad you did your homework. You remembered the stuff that I told you.
Yes.
Yeah, my father was my hero, greatest man I ever knew. One of the greatest stories. So my dad. So I have 3 sisters. They're much older than me, and so there was a night, where he didn't have no babysitter. And my dad refused to leave me home alone, and I was probably 10 or 11, but he refused. So he says, "Vámonos, you got to go to work with me." And that man ran the hacienda showroom. It was like the old days. It was just different. He ran that showroom, right? So he takes me in.
There was no tickets there.
It was all
maitre d'. Yeah.
So he takes me in. He sits me at the very far back booth. And imagine, red leather booth. This was for real. Way in the back. And he says, "You're going to have to stay here at work with me. Just sit back here." Well, the show was Fire on Ice. To my dear friends Sue Loudon and Paul Loudon out there, you remember it because my dad worked for them, for Paul Loudon. Fire on Ice. You know what Fire on Ice was?
Yes.
Topless.
Yes.
I'm 10 or 11 years old, and I'm like,
what?
So, and then the cocktail waitress comes over. She says, "Hi, Peter. Your dad wanted me to send this over to you. A plate of cookies and milk." Nice. So here I am, 10 or 11 years old,
seeing
at the Fire and Ice show.
With cookies
and milk.
Nice.
And everybody treating me like, I'm just family. It's just like another normal day in Las Vegas. I love that story. I will tell that story until the day I die.
Thank you for
One of the
sharing
best.
that. Yeah. And you have lots of them. I've heard lots of them, but I figure it'd be nice to for the audience to hear how important, of a man your dad was in your life. So thanks for sharing that. And you reminded me, I also, I think also I'm going to invite her to come to the podcast because I know, I've been to events with them with you too, and they have a huge footprint in this community. They've impacted a lot of lives. So I think her story would be a good one to be told. Peter, usually when we wrap up, we give our guests the opportunity to pitch in things that are happening in their life or in their, the chamber has tons of events all the time, and we hear it through emails, those of us, members. But what do you want to tell our listeners, our viewers? What's coming up that's important on the chamber that we could maybe share the URL of the website or a date or something that what's happening? Yeah,
listen, we talked a lot about the chamber, and I appreciate the opportunity to do that. Everybody knows how to get a hold of us, 702-385-7367. Call Beatriz. If you can't get a hold of me, she definitely can get a hold of me. We got a lot of things coming up. Listen, just get out in the community, do your part and make our community better. That's how we live every day.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to share the Latin Chamber website on our screen too.
Please, I appreciate that.
Know how to do it. Peter, thank you for all the years that you've given us here at Workforce Connections. We hope that you continue to find, interest and rewards in being our board member. Thank you for being a friend all these years too. Again, my mom's always asking, when is the party, in December? She loves to dance there with Latin
yes, she does.
And so,
and thank you for allowing me to be a board member. I love Workforce. I think the work that you're doing is so impactful. And for me to have a small part in that, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, it's a big part, Peter. And keep doing what you're doing for our community, for our small businesses and our Latino community. I'm proud to call you a friend.
I'm proud too. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We want to thank all the folks that make this happen, that work on the back screens, behind the cameras. And we want to see you in the next episode. So until then, stay safe. All right, Peter, thank you for staying over to do our bonus segment called In the Hot Seat. Are you ready?
It's hot in here.
So the first section is called Your Favorites. I'm going to give you a category, and you're going to give me your favorite thing in that category. Let's start with an easy one. Favorite food.
Cuban.
Favorite beverage with dinner.
Wine.
Favorite dessert after dinner.
Cheesecake.
Favorite way to start your day.
Cold plunge.
Favorite way to unwind after a long day.
Playtime with my dog Lola.
Favorite hobby or weekend activity.
Family time.
Favorite vacation spot.
Alaska.
Favorite holiday.
Ooh, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Favorite car you've ever owned.
78 Camaro.
Love that one. Favorite college sports team.
Hurricanes.
Favorite professional sports team.
Raiders.
Awesome. You made it through your favorites. The second segment is called Tough Choices. It gets a little harder, and hopefully you can pick between one or the other. But if you can't, both is fine. You ready?
Ready.
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Fly there or drive there?
Depends where.
Hotel or Airbnb?
Hotel.
When you retire one day, I hope it's still years in the future, will it be on a ranch or in the city?
Both.
If you had a day all by yourself or a day with mercy, would it rather be a day by the ocean or hiking in the mountains?
Ocean.
Swimming with turtles or swimming with dolphins?
I love turtles. I've swam with turtles.
Lead like a turtle, slow and steady, or like a hare, fast and bold?
Combination of both.
Have more time or have more money?
Much more time.
If you were a superhero, the ability to fly or breathe underwater?
Breathe underwater.
The ability to speak with animals or speak any foreign language?
Animals.
Here's where it gets really hard, Peter. Truth or kindness?
Truth.
Actions or words?
Actions.
Justice or grace?
Justice with grace.
You made it through tough choices. The last segment is called Finish the Sentence, where I'm going to give you about 90%. You're going to finish it for me. Are you ready? Peter, if you could visit any place in the world, it would be...
Italy.
The best part about living here in Southern Nevada is...
October.
And your favorite thing about your job as president of Latin Chamber of Commerce is?
Making an impact.
If you could travel back in time to any time period, you would travel to?
Motown era.
And 3 words that describe Peter Guzman are?
Passionate, passionate, and more passionate.
I couldn't agree more. And doing the WC podcast here with us today was?
Outstanding.
Peter, thank you for staying over to do our bonus segment.